Hi, boys and girls. I'm going to review what we learned on Tuesday for reading, how it was sensory sorting. So we were using our senses. How do we taste? How do things taste? How do they feel? Smell? How do they sound? And I lost one. How do they look? So I'm going to flip the screen and we're going to look at yesterday's IXL. Okay. And you can see I have to put these. Now I have taste right here. I have sight right here. So tart cherry jelly. Am I going to taste that or am I going to see that? I'm going to taste it because tart means that it's a flavor, or it's kind of sour, like muddy footprints. Can I taste muddy footprints? No. We can see muddy footprints. A huge brown package. Can I taste a huge brown package? No, but I can see it. Salty crackers. Ooh, yeah, that's something I can taste. So we submit it and we're good. Okay. Now we have stale wheat toast. Toast is something I eat, so it's going to be something that I can taste. Salty soup. Soup is something I eat, so it's going to be something I can taste. Brick red barn. I don't eat barns, so we're going to put that over here. Spicy apple cider. Ooh, I like to drink spicy apple cider on a cold fall day, so that would be something I would taste. If you think of it like that, it should help you. Sight and touch. Thick fog. Fog is not something I can generally touch, but it is something I can see, like when I'm driving down to White River. Prickly thorns. Ooh, that's something I can feel. That hurts when I step on a thorn or on a rose. Zigzagging coastline. Can't touch a coastline, really, so I'm going to say that's something I can see. Soft lamb's wool. That's something I can touch, okay? Let's submit that, okay? So now we've got sight. What are some things I can see? What are some things I can smell? Rainbow striped pants. Your pants might smell after you've worn them a while, but generally that's something we see. Fresh lilacs. Lilacs are flowers, so that's going to be something I can smell. Bright red sparks. Can't smell sparks usually. Pale pink walls. That would be something that I can see too. They don't usually smell. Okay, so you get the idea of this. Now I'm going to go back for a moment and I'm going to switch the screen again. Okay, so today we're going to take it a step farther and there are going to be some paragraphs that you read. You want to find the sentence that has sensory details in it. I can smell something, see something, taste something. See, taste, touch, smell, and hear. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm flipping the screen again, and I'll show you today's assignment. Okay, hold on. Okay, so now I need to read this. Whoops, sorry. It says, select the sentence with a sensory detail that describes how something feels to the touch. So they're even telling you want something that feels. Betty dropped her book bag in the ground and shook her head. She hated carrying around those hard, heavy books every day. So Betty formed a plan. She was going to talk to Mr. Harrington at school the next day. She was just going to tell him she was getting too much homework and he should start giving her less. If that didn't work, Betty would have to start bringing a wheelbarrow to school. So now I want to look for a sentence that shows how something feels. Betty dropped her book bag to the ground and shook her head. That doesn't tell me how something feels. She hated carrying around all those hard, heavy books. Oh, that tells me how the books feel. So I bet that's my sentence. There we go. Okay. Now on this one, we want to find a sensory detail that describes a sound. Eve was relieved to hear the car door slam out front. Mr. and Mrs. Lowry must be back. Finally, this endless day of taking care of little Lucy and Danny Lowry was over. It was the hardest work Eve had ever done. She had read them The Cat in the Hat at least 80 times. They had played the same silly board game even more times than that. She couldn't wait to get home and take a bath. So, how something sounds. Eve, we're going to go through the sentences. Eve was relieved to hear the car door slam out front. There it tells me how the car door sounded. So I'm going to mark that sentence. And we're good. Okay, let's do a couple more. Mr. Campbell had a job selling encyclopedias. He sold them to people in their homes rather than in a store. He walked from house to house. At each new door, he pushed a button and listened to the doorbell. If someone answered, Mr. Campbell talked to people about the books. He said they contained information and knowledge that everybody needed. Mr. Campbell tells a good story, and I suspect he has sold many encyclopedias. So now we want to know, where is a sentence that says how something sounds? Mr. Campbell had a job selling encyclopedias. That doesn't tell me how something sounds. It tells me what he does for a job. He sold them to people in their homes rather than in a store. Again, there's nothing in there about how something sounds. He walked from house to house. Nothing in there about how something sounds. At each new door, he pushed a button and listened to the doorbell ring. Oh, this tells me that the doorbell was ringing. So that's what the sound is. Okay, now we want to look for a sentence that says how something smells. In science class today, Mr. McClure gave each student a little jar of some powder. The students had to figure out what was inside their jars. Most of the students just stared at their jars, not knowing what to do. But Alina had an idea. She opened her jar and took a small sniff. Then she declared to the class that her jar held something that stank like rotten eggs. So, in science class today, Mr. McClure gave each student a jar of some powder. Doesn't tell me how anything smelled. The students had to figure out what was inside the jars. Again, nothing about a smell. Most of the students just stared at their jars, not knowing what to do. Again, nothing in there about how something smells. But Alina had an idea. No thing about the smell. She opened her jar and took a small sniff. It tells me she's smelling something, but not how it smells. Then she declared to the class that her jar held something that stank like rotten eggs. There's my sentence. So, boys and girls, that's what you're going to do today for your IXL. You need to go to IXL Language Arts, and you are going to E.2, identify sensory details, and I'll have it marked for today. So be sure that you go and do that. Talk to you later. Blessings on your day.